Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gaur Premanande. Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivachikacharya. His Divine Grace. H. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Join Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivachikacharya. His Divine Grace. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Granthara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Bit quiet today, compared to yesterday. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, Text 36. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatraha preta bandhunam. Tatraha preta bandhunam. Ashrutya paridevitam. Ashrutya paridevitam. Ahatan balako bhutva. Ahatan balako bhutva. Yamaha shayam upagataha. Yamaha swayam upagataha. Tatraha preta bandhunam. Ashrutya paridevitam. Ahatan balako bhutva. Yamaha swayam upagataha. Tatraha preta bandhunam. Bandhunam. Tatraha preta bandhunam. Ashrutya paridevitam. Tatra, there. Ha, certainly. Preta bandhunam, of the friends and relatives of the dead king. Ashrutya, hearing. Paridevitam, the loud lamentation. So loud that it could be heard from the planet of Yamaraj. Aha, said, tan, unto them, the lamenting queens. Balakaha, a boy. Bhutva, becoming. Yamaha, Yamaraj, the superintendent of death. Shayam, personally. Upagataha, after coming. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While the queens were lamenting for the dead body of the king, their loud cries were heard even from the body of Yamaraj. Assuming the body of a boy, Yamaraj personally approached the relatives of the dead body and advised them as follows. That's in the next verse. Purport. Sometimes the living entity is forced to give up his body and enter another one, according to the judgment of Yamaraj. It is difficult, however, for the conditioned soul to enter another body unless the present body, dead body, is annihilated through cremation or some other means. The living being has attachment for the present body and does not want to enter another, and thus, in the interim, he remains a ghost. A living being who has already left his body has been pious. Yamaraj, just to give him relief, will give another body. Since the living being in the body of the king had some attachment to his body, he was hovering as a ghost. And therefore, Yamaraj, as a special consideration, approached the lamenting relatives to instruct them personally. Yamaraj approached them as a child, because a child is not restricted, but is granted admittance anywhere, even to the palace of a king. Beside this, the child was speaking philosophy. People are very much interested in hearing philosophy when it is spoken by a child. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Nivari Vachata Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarvasya Kripasindave Vacha Patitanam Pavaneva Vaishnavivya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. This is the summum bonum of our understanding that philosophy of Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness, is the first step of realization, is to understand we are not this body. Aham Brahmasmi. That is the problem. The problem is we think we are the body. Everything starts from that. And like it's mentioned here, they're crying over a dead body. It's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that the learned soul, the Pandita, Samadarshinaha, Krishna says that those who are learned, they do not lament for the body, the material body, because the material body is already dead. From the time we take this body from the childhood, Krishna explains, from childhood to the youth to old age, the body is changing constantly. What is changing? The body doesn't, its body is changing, that the soul doesn't change. That is the beginning philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains. The first, second chapter, Krishna explains, you're not this body. Dehinasmin jata dehe, komara javanam jara, komara. From the childhood, the youth to old age, the body is constantly changing. So the queens here of the demon king Hiranyakashipu was lamenting after Hiranyakashipu was dead, was killed by Nrsimhadev. They were lamenting over the body. That's where time and time again, Prabhupada and the previous acharyas and the Vaishnavas, they speak that we are not this body. If you can go over this realization, that this point first, that we're not this body, then we can perform our service very peacefully. Because we're not worried. We're not worried about anything. We're not contemplating on the bodily platform. We're spiritually minded. We are observing Krishna because we know the body changing. So therefore, a learned person, a devotee of Krishna, who has full realization of spiritual understanding and knowledge, Krishna explains, Jnana dipena vashvata. Krishna says, through the knowledge, shining light of knowledge, Jnana vashvata, that he can dissipate the ignorance. The ignorance is what? Is to think I am this body. The concept of any philosophy is to overcome the bodily platform. The body is not everything. It is a temporary element that we are put into. We are sitting in the body. We are not the body. Just like when you say, my hair, my hand, my clothes, you are different from that object. You are not the hair. I say, it's my body. So who are you? Are you the body? Or are you the hair? Are you this lump of material body? No. So if we can talk about it, but we have to understand, really understand deep in our heart that I'm not this body. That's it. Then you feel fantastic when you actually realize this point. Whatever you do in life, especially in Krishna consciousness, if you can overcome this bodily platform, everything goes so smoothly. So the body is dying. Just like a couple of weeks ago, one of our devotee kids died in India. And I spoke to the parents. They look fine. They were not lamenting. They are great devotees. Devotees, we have a realization. We're not worried. And this is very, very reason why in Australia people always talk about, don't worry. Anywhere else they always say that. Don't worry, be happy. Because they know underneath. They're not learned. Maybe they are lamenting behind doors. But we have a reason to understand, to be happy. Happiness comes when you are above the material platform. When you are above this attachment to this body. The problem is the attachment. That's why Prabhupada says here in his purport, we have to be detached ourselves. Detachments come from giving up the attachment from material objects we're surrounded by. Even in Krishna consciousness, when we serve Krishna, Krishna gives us abundance of opulence and happiness. Because we know in our heart, deep down in our heart, we know this is all Krishna's. I'm here to serve Krishna. I'm here to serve Srila Prabhupada. I am here to serve. We have a mission. We have a goal. So we're not distracted from what we are meant to do in life. Just like Arjuna, who was sent to heavenly planets to get weapons from Indra. And he was approached by Urvasi, one of the damsels of the heavenly planets. And he said, I don't have time for you because I'm here. My brother sent me here and I have a reason for being here. I don't want to be distracted to anything else. So that's a devotee. And she was very upset. So we have to become similarly observant Krishna so we don't distract ourselves from what we are meant to do in life. Everything we do in Krishna consciousness, we have to see what is the goal? Why am I here? What is my reason for serving Krishna? Who is Krishna? Who am I in relation to Krishna? What is the purpose of life? Why am I running for sense enjoyment? What is there to gain from it? So we have to ask these things. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The very beginning of human life starts when we can inquire to understand, who am I? What is this body? Why am I suffering? That makes us different from animals. Because the animals, they simply live just for sake of living, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That's all. There's nothing to it. You see, there's the birds, they get up in the morning, all they're asking, cheep, cheep, cheep. What are they asking for? They're not saying, oh, how can I change my rounds? How can I improve my devotionals? They're asking for food. Isn't it? They're really busy. And this thing, they're always hungry. You give them food, they still come back for it. They're always hankering for material enjoyment. Spiritual life is already full of happiness. It is full of joy. It is full of transcendental bliss at every moment. As soon as you chant Hare Krishna, as soon as you walk into this temple room, clap your hands in front of the deity, in front of Radha Ballabha, and in front of Srila Prabhupada. You raise your hands in front of the deity. You just feel fantastic because you give yourself, your life to Krishna. Atmaram. You become fully satisfied. There's nothing else. You don't have to look elsewhere. Like they always say, the grass is greener on the other side. The cows thinking. They always have this long tongue. They stretch their tongue out to get a piece of grass from the other side of the fence. So material enjoyment is just like that. But here in this temple, we chant Hare Krishna. What do you get out of it? It's such a simple thing. Chant Hare Krishna, chant japa, and it just feels fantastic. I've been chanting my rounds since last 50 years almost. And I feel fantastic every time I chant. I just feel there's a new pleasure in it. Ever fresh. Spiritual life is ever fresh. It's mentioned here. This word, Ashrutya. They're crying over Ashrutya here. Huh? Crying over the body. Even in English they all say, when the body dies, ashes to ashes. Isn't it something like that? Ashes to ashes. When are the ashes? The soul's gone. So what is there to lament for? The body is only functioning because it has the soul. Soul is what permeates and its energy throughout this dead body and makes it move and function. The soul goes, but it had nothing to do with it. That's what we have to understand. It's simple. Padam padam jadvi padam. The material world is a place of suffering at every step. There's no guarantee you walk down the street, you're hit by a car or anything like that. It can happen. But we are not worried. We chant Hare Krishna. We take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is there in the holy name. Kali Kale Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar. In Kali Yuga, Krishna has appeared in his name. Just today, Lord Nityananda's appearances. Why did he appear? Because out of compassion. He appeared in this world to bless the living, to uplift them, to bring them back to Godhead. Out of ultimate mercy and compassion, the Lord himself, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, God, he appears. How merciful he is. God comes down. He is our parents. He is our Pitaha Masajagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha. It's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, I'm the father of the universe. I'm the mother. I'm the grandsire. He is everything. We are so attached to this body. And that is the main problem. That's what blocks us from chanting Hare Krishna. That's what blocks us from getting that ruchi, the taste for the holy name. Sometimes people say, oh Prabhu, I'm not getting the taste for the holy name. What's blocking? Sometimes, like if we want to swim across a river, and sometimes there's lots of weeds, and you have to clear away those weeds. Then there is smooth swimming. I lived in Mayapur, and sometimes we used to swim across the Ganges. Little kids. I joined at the age of 6, and in 1 or 2 years I already can swim across the Ganges. It's really, really rough. And there was one devotee came from Australia. He said, I can swim in the ocean. I'm a professional swimmer. So he jumped in. He said, don't swim. You don't know how to swim in the Ganges, even if you're really good at it. So he jumped in, and he was saying, help me, because he was getting swept away by current. He didn't know how to swim. And we were already in the island. There's an island in the middle to go and play in the middle of the island, soccer. And so we had to call luckily there was a fisher boat nearby. He helped him to get him across, take him back. And we used to swim across all the way to the Ganges. So the idea to be able to know the technique. The technique is we have to get rid of the attachment to this body. The attachment is what blocks us. Just like if you chant, as soon as you sit down to chant japa in the temple, all kinds of stuff come in your head that you even think of it. Isn't it? Before you even think of it. And then you sit down to chant japa, and suddenly all these things, thoughts comes in the mind that you didn't even think of it before. So it's like so there's a test for us to be able to chant Hare Krishna nicely, concentrate your mind on the holy name. That's why Krishna says, Kama esha, Krodha esha, Rajaguna samudbhava. Calm, lust, anger, greed. These things are sitting in our heart like demons. Sometimes they're stuck in you like demons. I remember with a small boy growing up in Shantipur, and they have all the rivers. We used to go and play in the river. And hours later I came home, and I saw there was a thing stuck in the back of my leg. It's a bloodsucker. What do you call that? Leech. They're all over the water in the swampy area. And I was freaked out. And I didn't know what to do. It wasn't coming off. It was stuck. I was pulling it like a rubber band. And my father said, you put some salt, it'll just peel off. They can't take the salt. And I was cutting it and everything. It's still not dying, still moving. You put salt and it's dead. So material desires are like that. They're stuck in our body, in our mind, in our heart. They're stuck. Cheta darpanam marjanam. That's why Krishna says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have to cleanse the heart of the holy name. Chanting the holy names is what you lose that attraction for material enjoyment, this body. What are you after? The body is what? It's already... So, it's mentioned here, sometime when we die, the soul still hovering around. It's mentioned here, they become a ghost. And I remember we were in Europe, and Indraduna Maharaj had to drop off his son at a train station. So he parked the caravan under a tree. And Europe has a history of Second World War. A lot of people died, and a lot of ghosts around. Why these ghosts? Because they still attach to their body. Even if it's long gone, they still hang around. And so then he parked and I was asleep. We used to sleep in the caravan, in a camper van, under a tree. And there was no one in the van. And I find myself, somebody sitting on my neck, really heavy guy. And he had a mustache and big black guy. It was choking me. I couldn't blurt anything out. It was blocking my windpipe. Sitting on my neck. Imagine somebody sitting on your neck. Just a couple of years ago, they killed somebody, you know. I can't breathe, you know that story. And so it was actually happening to me. And this guy was sitting, huge guy, he was sitting, imagine, I was trying to chant Hare Krishna. I couldn't say it because it was blocked. I say, only that much. Then they can pressure your consciousness. So in my mind, it was like, Hare Krishna. I said it and he left. Hours later, I had sore neck. He was sitting on my neck. Because sometimes what they do, they don't have a body. They suicide or die, and then they still after the body. They come after you because you have a body. And so that's what Prabhupada was saying here, ghost. And another time, I was in Mayapur, and I went to sleep. Sometimes you go to sleep, you're not fully asleep, you're just still awake. Your eyes are closed, but you're still kind of asleep. But you're. So I had, and in Mayapur there's a lot of snakes and a lot of stuff. They're around. We were sleeping, and I have this torch next to me, and a knife because sometimes this snake comes, and then while I close my eyes, I haven't completely sleep yet. And I saw this person next to my feet. He was laughing at me. You know, sometimes people, they laugh, they can scare you, they can make you very scary. Even just laughing can make you very scary. And the way he was laughing was like, wow, I was really freaked out. His eyes were going back all the way to his ear, and he had a big ear and a big belly, and he was like that, you know. And so I asked the next morning, I got up, and he left. And then I got up the next day, I told the devotees what happened. They said, this is Brahma Rakshasa. Brahmana, you know, sometimes devotees can become also a ghost. And I was chanting Nishingadev, I was chanting Hare Krishna, I wasn't going away because he's a Brahmana, he's a devotee. He was saying, you can chant Hare Krishna as much as you like. So sometimes, we have this, even if you give up your body knowingly, you suicide, not going to be happy because you're still after enjoyment. So the idea is to persevere the austerities while we're in this body. Engage this body in serving Krishna. Use this body to serve Krishna. Purify this body. Purify our consciousness. That is the whole idea of process of Krishna consciousness. So how we can purify ourselves? So you're thinking, I give up this body and it's all over. No. You're still hovering over. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kang mana buddhi revacha ahankara idyame bunya prakitirasya. There are 8 types of elements of the body. And then the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, ego. That's not killed. That's still very subtle. The subtle body is still hanging around. So that's the idea of Krishna consciousness. Is so pure and is so powerful. We have to purify the consciousness, the mind. Purify, just like we have the kirtan here. It's a very purifying activity, chanting Hare Krishna. Very purifying. Yesterday, I did nearly 3 hours of kirtan. That's why I'm struggling to speak because my throat is sore. And I wasn't just sitting there, Hare Krishna, soft, full-on kirtan, you know how we do, full-on. And I didn't feel any tiredness, actually. I'm not saying, I'm boosting, but that is the Krishna consciousness, the chanting the holy name, that's what it gives. It gives us nectar, the bliss, happiness, inner happiness. People talk about inner happiness. So if we can understand the process of Krishna consciousness through the knowledge, the shining light of knowledge, Jnana Dipena Vasvata. Vasvata is the shining light of knowledge. Is what uplifts us, is what gives us that transcendental bliss. And sometimes people say, I'm chanting Hare Krishna so long, so many years, I'm still not feeling anything. That's because we're holding on to the desire and attachment. Just like I said, smooth swimming across the river to the other side is when you can get rid of those things on the way. Clear way, then you can swim nicely. So if you're carrying stuff on your back, you're going to be dragged down under the water. So when you let go, you feel very light, it feels good. It's like that. Everything we do in Krishna consciousness, we have to see in this way. The process of Krishna consciousness is dynamic, it's ecstatic, it's wonderful, it's full of bliss. That's what Rupa Goswami said in the Nectar Devotion. That once by chanting Hare Krishna, by performing devotional service, instantly makes one happy. Instantly. That is the proof. You're not happy, that's your problem. You're not jumping into Krishna consciousness. Why the ghosts hang around? Because they're attached to this body. They already burnt your body to ashes. Nothing left for it. And they're still coming for it. That is the deep attachment. That's why while we are here in this body, we have to actually fully understand, I'm not this body. How much time we spent on this, decorating this body, taking care of this body. Half of our life, practically, if you think about it. How much sleep, how much everything you do. I tell myself, like when you're 70 or 80, all your life, from the time you're born till you die, you calculate how much food you ate. It'd be a truck full of food, isn't it? One truck full of food you ate. And at the end, your body is burned to ashes. Here we are. We care so much for the body. They even have a body shop. They call it a body shop. They know it's for the body. They didn't write a soul shop because they know it's not for the soul, it's for the body. Isn't it? They know that. That's why here we are going one step further. Not just the body. Spiritual platform, the soul platform. Knowledge of the soul, Atma-Gyan. Spiritual knowledge is so deep and it's so wonderful. So if we can get over this platform of bodily consciousness, we will feel that bliss. So long we are attached to this body, there's going to be a blockage. Simple. Why Krishna said it so many times? Why did he say it right in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita? Why he didn't say Krishna, Prem, love of God, right in the beginning? Because we have to get over this platform that we are in this body, in the beginning. Then we can go to the higher platform of Krishna, love of God, symptoms of devotional service. When chanting Hare Krishna, hair standing an end. I've been chanting Hare Krishna that 50 years, I didn't have any hair standing an end. But I feel the happiness. Maybe because we don't have hair. But the thing is, the bliss of Krishna consciousness is like that instant happiness. Once you dive into the process of Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna, dive into it, wherever you are, you'll feel the ecstaticness. It's very wonderful, this process of Krishna consciousness. Why did Srila Prabhupada alone, himself? But he was not alone himself. Prabhupada was sitting under a tree in New York, Thompson Square Park under a tree, alone. But he felt blissful because he was chanting Hare Krishna, doing kirtan. Tathai, tathai, bajila kol, gana gana tae, janjera roll. Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, once you pick up the kartal, tathai, tathai, bajila kol, and the midanga, and the shining sunlight, the east horizon of the east, Navadip, rising in the sun and the east of the Navadip in Bengal, the holy name. It brightens the consciousness, brightens the mind. Hare Krishna. So the spiritual knowledge is already there. Sadhya Kavunai is mentioned. We are born with the spiritual knowledge. We are born with love of God. We are born with Krishna consciousness. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, we are removing that ignorance. So the process of devotional service is a process by which we remove that ignorance. That's all. That's the whole process of devotional service. We have the morning program, evening program, chanting japa, associating with devotees, taking prasadam together. It's not the same when you do it at home. Even a home of a devotee is a temple, because there you're offering food to Krishna, you're chanting Hare Krishna. Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, my home is transformed into Vaikuntha, because there he is translating books and he's chanting Hare Krishna. He can see, he has that transcendental vision, he can see that the whole spiritual world is manifested in his house. Because the house of a devotee is Krishna's house. Devotee is thinking everything belongs to Krishna, starting with himself. This body belongs to Krishna. Sometimes I'm thinking to myself, like I want to die in the kirtan. Not going to happen, but you can at least sentimentally think. Offer your prayer to Krishna. Krishna, please, allow me to serve you nicely. Allow me to cook for you nicely. Allow me to develop attachment for you, love for you. It's not that we have to change our attitude. Because that's what Krishna consciousness is, consciousness. We have to do things in a spiritual consciousness. To change our consciousness, spiritual consciousness. It all begins with the consciousness. Because our consciousness is down here, material consciousness, sense enjoyment. The bodily consciousness is a very lower consciousness. So if you rise your consciousness, spiritual consciousness, then you can do that smooth swimming across the other side of the river. You know, across the other side of the river, you have to first of all know how to swim. So, the whole idea of Krishna consciousness is that to become Krishna conscious by giving up the attachment to the body that we are so attached to. For a lifetime, we are attached to this body. And we're still clinging on to the body. Still clinging on. That's why you come back as a ghost. And that's why Prabhupada mentioned here. You come as a ghost because you still attached to the body. You don't have a body anymore. But you're still thinking. You hang around. Even as a devotee, they come as like a Brahma Rakshasa. Like I said, he's chanting Hare Krishna so much to the ghost, and he's not going away because he's a devotee. He's aware of Krishna consciousness. So, the test of a devotee is that how much we are developing love for Krishna. It's like a scale. He put a brick and all this thing, and he put some books. It doesn't go up. So it's to scale your desire. Our desire is so big, it doesn't scale. It doesn't matter how big scale you have it. It's too heavy. And sometimes there's trees in India. I don't know, they don't have those kind of trees here. They have these big trees, banyan trees. You can't pull out the root because it's so, it goes miles away, the roots. And then you cut the tree, it's still growing up because the root's down there. So you want to stop, we have to pull the whole root. So desires in our body is like the root of a banyan tree, so big it goes far away, miles away. You have to pull the whole thing out. Then the flower and the fruits will grow. The devotion to Krishna will grow. The creeper of devotion will grow when you can give up that attachment like a root of a tree, pulling it out that's been there for a lifetime. So big because it's lifetime sitting in there, those desires. Sometimes when you're asleep and you're dreaming, this dreaming comes from lifetime. Desires. I won't mention any name. There was a devotee here. You'll know who he is. He's 70 plus years. He said, come here. He called me and he bought up all this jewelry. This much jewelry. Almost, if you put on a weight, it'll be like a couple kgs of jewelry. So much. His necklace, earrings, all kinds of jewelry. He said, where did you get it? He said, I found it around the temple over the years, and he collected it. This much. I said, what are you going to do with it? He said, maybe one day I'll get married. 70 plus years. Can you believe it? So, I said, like when you're 50, you're supposed to, take up sannyas and go to the temple and like that. He said, no, I'm not in that platform. I still have desire. I said, forget it. It's not going to come for you. You're at that age. I was just joking with him. So, we're still dreaming. There's desires, so many desires. You can't take even a grain with you, a hair with you when you leave this body. Think about it. Why is it attached to what? I'm wearing this jacket. And Vasamchi Jinani, Krishna says, just like a body changing, just like when you wear a new clothes and you give up and give up this and you wear a new one on. So the body is constantly changing. What is there to be attached to? So you go to the bank, they say, next please. And then you come, and your turn. Right? There's no love in there, they're just calling you like that. So we have to call Krishna out of love. When your mothers call you, oh, my son, my daughter, you call by name, you feel good. Come, the food is ready. If you go to a restaurant, they just put the food down, and like give you one bowl of palak paneer. You all know palak paneer. 4 pieces of palak, paneer, paneer. You're familiar with paneer. Small ones, they're floating in the paneer, in the palak. Maybe $14 to $15, a small cup. And you're giving here free palak paneer. Full plate. And seconds and third. And still complaining. I didn't get enough. They have a hundi upstairs, and they eat up to their neck. The one guy I saw, his pants were falling down, he ate so much. Sorry, I'm pretty graphic here. But that's what happens. People are very ecstatic. There's much food here. And then they have a donation box up there, and I heard a few coins went in there. So you can put more money for Krishna. You can donate for Krishna. So the whole idea is to come to our temple to raise our consciousness by taking spiritual food stuff. We're not throwing down philosophy down your throat. We're giving you Krishna Prasadam, offered to Krishna, wonderful, tasty food stuff. You know, sometimes you see people down the road in the Swanson Street, and Jesus the way, and they have this, and just no one is listening. And you go down the Hare Nam, everybody, hey, here comes the Hare Krishnas. And you feel ecstatic. And then and this guy shouting. So that everything we do in Krishna consciousness, we have to understand it is for the pleasure of Krishna. I'm doing this for Krishna. Just like we are cooking in the temple. You know, put things nicely, clean the place nicely. Do it consciousness. Because you're doing it, this is all Krishna's property here. Once you walk in, actually, consciousness in our devotee is that everything is Krishna's. This body is Krishna's. Your family is Krishna. Arpilu tuapada nanda kishore. Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, whatever I have, my home, my family, I offer all to you at your lotus feet. Everything is yours. That is the ultimate consciousness of a devotee. Sometimes I'm here like yesterday and before. At the end of the day, I was just super tired. I had to go to somebody's house to do yajna last night. I got back home quite late, like something like 8 or 9 o'clock. And I thought, I'm going to have a good sleep now, I'm so tired. I laid down, I couldn't sleep. I was rolling one side to the other. My mind was here and there. I thought, wow, what a good festival. My mind was just going everywhere, I couldn't sleep. And sometimes you go home and thinking, I have a really good, nice house, I have a nice bed, but you can't sleep. I just pull out a yoga mat, I slept good. So, we have a full-on day serving Krishna, you're being ecstatic. There's no time to be in Maya. There's no time to be thinking I'm this body. Because you're giving this body for Krishna. It just feels ecstatic. That's what it requires to be Krishna conscious. To fully observe. That's why Rupa Goswami said, 24 hours a day, I want to chant Hare Krishna. 24 hours a day, I want to busy in serving Krishna. Of course, it's not that easy. Like sometimes I think to myself, maybe I'll die in the kitchen sometime. Maybe I will die. Sometimes I go in there, this could be my last day here. You know, one devotee gave me a glass to wear in the kitchen, special glass, so the hot ghee and stuff and the hot water doesn't fall in the eyes. And I need to see things nicely, so I took it off. So, material world, it's a dangerous place, but at the same time, we take risk for Krishna. We chant Hare Krishna. We do service to Krishna. We know the first principle of a devotee is that he knows that Krishna is there to protect us. You worry too much about yourself. Okay, fine. You're on your own. But we have to take shelter of Krishna. We have to take shelter of the holy name. We have to study the Bhagavatam with the associated devotees. This is what gives a devotee strength. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sastra Koi. Sarva Sastra Koi. What does it mean? Sarva Sastra. All the scriptures are saying, associate with sadhu. Okay, I say, I'm not sadhu. Well, forget what you think. Associate, whoever's here. If you're in the temple, I'm here, sadhu. Wherever you are, devotee, wherever he goes is a sadhu. But people, we have material consciousness. The way to clear the consciousness is by associating a devotee, is by chanting Hare Krishna. Then we can be free from material attachment, bondage to the material world. Prabhupada said, if you say the result of chanting Hare Krishna is to make you chant more Hare Krishna, more chanting. You think, oh, I'm not feeling I'm not in the mood today. I'm not feeling attachment to chanting. I don't feel good about it. Then you're always going to be stuck in Maya. You have to pull yourself up like a child. The child learns to crawl and gradually learns how to walk. So we're like a child. We have to crawl for Krishna, dance for Krishna. And I saw, we're doing this very fired up kirtan chanting. I saw one guy against the wall, he was like this. Come on. Pull yourself up. Raise your hand in the air. Chant Hare Krishna. You see, Gaur Nitai. Yesterday was Lord Nityananda's appearance day. His hands in the air. He's not there like that. We don't have deities making Eka Chakra with hands like this. They're making like this. Because Lord is dancing blissfully. You're not feeling, you're in ignorance, you don't feel good about being here with us, you don't feel good about chanting Hare Krishna. That is a material thing, that's in your heart. But once you raise your hand, once you chant Hare Krishna, the bliss of the holy name overtakes your ignorance. The whole idea, the process of Krishna consciousness is to come to this platform of devotional service, to be ecstatic devotional service. Here, we have to become loving service to Krishna. Not out of duty, I'm thinking, oh, here I have to do this. Then the food will not be good. Anything you do, you have to do things that is going to please Krishna. I'm doing to please Krishna. I'm doing to please my Guru Maharaj, to please the Vaishnavas. Just like when your Guru comes, you run around, make garland, you cook for him, wash his feet, Vyasa Puja, like that. Prabhupada is here. Srila Prabhupada is here. So the whole point is that when we can get rid of these desires, like a root of a banyan tree, you have to give your personal agenda and give for Krishna first, for your Guru. So similarly, the whole process of this process of Krishna consciousness is, it's mentioned here. That at the last, says here, people are very much interested in hearing philosophy when it's spoken by a child. Prabhupada said, isn't it? Well, there's that one small girl, Prabhupada used to, there's a few years old, 5 years old, Saraswati. Saraswati. Prabhupada said, who is God? He said, Krishna. People in the world attacking their bed, their yogis, they don't know who God is. A small girl. And Prabhupada said she's best in the human being, of all the human beings in the universe. She knew, this small girl. Huh? Paramahamsa. You are Paramahamsa also. So, we have to be like a child for Krishna. Chant the holy name. Become love for Krishna. You don't have to know so much. All you have to know, Krishna is there in the name. You have to relish the Krishna consciousness. That's all. Be here. Just like when I first came to Melbourne, and I was in China for many years, maybe 15 years, and I had a lot of freedom and to do stuff for myself. And I didn't go to the temple much. They didn't have that many temples there. It's all underground. And so I came here, and then I was thinking maybe not go to the temple so much and do my own thing. And when you have such desires, and if you are a devotee for a long time, Krishna will arrange that you become Krishna conscious. So sometimes we have our own desire, but Krishna has his own desire. Krishna is very loving. I called the temple, and then they were saying, why don't you just come over and we'll work things out here. Just come here first. And I came and I thought, wow. Whatever I was thinking, as soon as I came here, there's devotees. I think it was a festival day or something when I came in. There was devotees everywhere. I felt really good about it. And I was stuck in some hotel on my own. And I came here, I felt, wow, this is what I should be doing. This is what I should be. This is what I was meant to do in Prabhupada. And I felt really good. And sometimes devotees tell you, oh, you're not doing it right, do it like this, do it like that. That's what we meant to tell each other, to perform a service. The Goswamis, they're telling us, they wrote books, Srila Prabhupada wrote books. Why? Because the books are the guidelines, are the guide for us to how we can perform our service to Krishna. The devotees tell us, there are two types of devotees of the books. There are two types of books. One is devotee Bhagavata, and this is this Bhagavata. So when the devotees tell us, it means Krishna is telling. They're not telling anything different. So, the way to perform our service to Krishna more nicely, when we can understand that I'm doing this to please my Guru, I'm doing this to please Srila Prabhupada, I'm doing this to please Krishna, then it will become very blissful. When you can give up your interest for the interest of Krishna. Of course, your interest is when you can please Krishna, that becomes your interest. That is our interest, isn't it? I'm not going to say much. Any questions? Because Adu can speak more, so you can interact a little bit, then we can carry on the class. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for the nice discourse. I've got one comment and a question. The comment I requested in the restaurant, the person serves you food, and now they serve also. They will make you eat also. Nowadays, in the restaurant, the new trend is they not only serve, but they feed you also. Why? Because they get more tips. This is the interest. And as you said, they give only 3 or 4 pieces of cheese or paneer or whatever. But yesterday was such a beautiful feast. The temple president invited me inside in the main hall, and such nice feast, my God, I don't think I ever had. And so many things, you can't even eat. The plate is full before you finish. So now my question is, how to increase our love for the lotus feet of Krishna? What are the means other than chanting? Any other means? Taking prasadam, chanting. So what are the things you want to suggest? Your experience. Thank you.
I can't answer that because I myself just eating attached to prasadam. I haven't developed other things yet. But I can comment a little bit on that. Yeah, like when we chant Hare Krishna, the meaning of chanting Hare Krishna means please engage me in your service. So sometimes devotees say, oh, I'm too busy chanting, and then I don't have time to service. But actually, the very meaning of chanting is to do service, actually. Because that's one thing. And also, taking prasadam is also a service. So sometimes people come here, not sometimes, always, people come here and take prasadam. But they're doing a service. They may not want to chant or read or other thing, but they're serving Krishna by tasting prasadam. So that's our job, to make the quality prasadam for Krishna, for the pleasure of Prabhupada. So when people come, wow, I want to be here, you know. Just like on Radha Krishna's anniversary, just we did on 50th anniversary. Some people are saying, oh, this feast couldn't be better than last time. And you know, this thing didn't have enough salt and this, that. I say, how did you like the gulab jamuns? I said, oh, that was good. A couple of days before that, we had to make 2,000 gulab jamuns. And I learned from the devotees here in Australia how to make this gulab jamun. Even Indian people, when they come, they say, your gulab jamuns are better than the ones that we have in India. It's originally. So Prabhupada taught us how to do things for pleasure of Krishna. He's an Acharya, he's a Guru, so he's telling us how to do service to Krishna, perfect our service to Krishna. So, we can learn from the Vaishnavas how to love Krishna. So just like I said in the bank, they said, next please, but there's not really love in there. Next please, and he said, get out of here. Next one, but there's, we want to serve Krishna, we have to call on Krishna, like Prabhupada said, when you chant Hare Krishna like a child calling for the mother. Oh, mommy, and mommy will jump from the roof to get to the child, because there's so much love in there. Similarly, we have to be like a child calling for Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, tears in the eyes. Tears flowing from the eyes, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. So, if we can understand that principle, that if I can learn to love Krishna, and to be able to do that, you have to give up your attachment, this body and family, so many things. So no, I am attached to family. We are already in the family of Krishna. We're Krishna's family. Big family. Like my friend's daughter got married in Goa. Mukesh Prabhu, and from Taiwan. And his daughter's Ginny got married. I was invited. I didn't go. I said, because I saw they're doing the Bolly dance. That's not my thing. I'm here doing kirtan. So I met her yesterday. And I asked her how many people came. He said, like 500. But we had 2,000 devotees here. And this is Krishna's family is bigger. So your family may be few people, but Jadu Vamsa is huge. Imagine Krishna's family. We're in Krishna's family. So don't think you're small time. We're in a big flesh. We're in a big family. So sometimes we get discouraged, oh, we have few people here. No. There's love. Krishna's family is huge. So if we can understand that underneath that we are with Krishna, and my business is to serve Krishna, that's all. Don't get distracted to other things. Then we'll feel that joy of happiness. Yeah. I always get distracted. Then I have to tell myself when I have a reason for me to be here. So when you test it, it's a good thing. Then we can wake up to the reality. So when devotees tell us, that's also a time to wake up to what we are actually supposed to do. So people correct us. It's good. We should not get upset. Do things that can be perfect. Before I came here, I used to work for a diamond company in Hong Kong, and my job was to check the weight of the diamond, the different sizes, and the 1 carat ones, check the color, the cutting. There's a lot of work. I had to learn how to do that. So, and then put it in the box. After checking the weight, everything should be perfect, and then give to the boss. And you check everything, and he said, oh, perfect. You did really good. So I thought to myself, perfection comes in devotional service when everything is done for Krishna. Perfect. So sometimes the devotee check, is this correct? Is this perfect? Are you doing nicely? Are you chanting japa nicely? Are this quality chanting? You want initiation? Am I finished my course nicely? Am I qualified? So these things, they are necessary qualifications for everything. So that's what's required. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, I was thinking yesterday, Lord Nityananda appearance, I was so ecstatic. And when I came in here, it was few devotees, I was saying, but it's not like that. There's always devotees. And there's going to be more festival coming. Gaur Purnima is coming. And then so many other festivals. So, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.